Welcome to Table Flippers Podcast, an outreach of Greater Works Christian Church here in Lancaster, California. I am your host, Robert Enos. If you like what you hear, visit us at gwcclancaster.org. That's gwcclancaster.org. Find the Table Flippers link, click on it, and you'll get to our merchandise. Now, get ready for a huge dose of truth and a huge dose of common sense. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot believe that I'm about to tell you this, but I must tell you this. I owe you all an apology. I want to say that I am sorry. Wait a minute. Let me back up there for a minute. I don't know that I'm sorry. It just caught me off guard on something, so I'm not really sorry for something I really didn't do, but I owe you an apology in this area. In my last episode on this podcast, I made the statement that I might start doing some of these episodes based upon some CNN articles, because CNN to me is so absurd that it's funny at times. So after I finished that episode, I thought to myself, I said, hey, wonderful one. Let's go to CNN and just see what's going on at CNN. Maybe I could find some articles that I could do in the very near future. And I did find an article, but it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny at all. I was just looking for their usually absurd articles, and what I found wasn't funny at all. As a matter of fact, well, I'll read what I found in just a moment, but I do want to say I apologize, because when I finally read something here on this podcast from CNN, I wanted it to be something that we could all enjoy, laugh at, roll on the floor laughing, that type of thing. Have it somewhat lighthearted, even though they may not mean it that way. We would certainly take it that way. But what I found was an article of great hypocrisy on CNN's part and great sadness on everyone else's part. So for that, I apologize. I'm not sorry in this sense, because I found something that's extremely heart-wrenching and something that we need to take very seriously. And, well, you'll see what I mean when I read this. The title of this article it says that 7-fold increase in children crossing treacherous Darien Gap, says UNICEF. And this is by Karim El Damanhori. Forgive me for butchering that name, and Stefano Pozzoban and Michael Rios of CNN. And it says updated 5:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, April 13th, 2023. So that was 2 days ago. This was updated. I don't know when the original article came out, but it says updated, so it's only 2 days old. And I was going to do this yesterday, but I had many things I had to take care of, meetings I had to go to and everything. So I was going to try to squeeze it in, but I thought, no, I want to be able to do this when I have the time to really focus on it. And this is actually very, very heart-wrenching in several ways. But anyways, again, this is CNN. It says almost 9,700 children and adolescents have tried to cross the infamous Darien Gap in the first 2 months of 2023. A 7-fold increase compared to the same period in 2022, according to UNICEF report. The 60-kilometer or 37-mile trek north brings migrants from Colombia to Panama, a crucial passage for those hoping to reach the United States and Canada. So let me stop right there. So this Darien Gap is a really horrible 37-mile trek or stretch for migrants who are walking, because at least the pictures that I see here that's in this article, they're all walking. It's very steep, mountainous trail, and people are doing their best just to carry whatever they can carry through here. And it's 37 miles, and it's used by the people trying to reach the United States or Canada. Okay, and since they're doing it this way, you can bet and be guaranteed that these if they made it into the United States, it'd be here illegally. This goes on to say the UN's Children Agency said that 110 of the children had attempted the dangerous hike alone. It noted that large numbers of people on that route in the same time period were from Haiti, Ecuador, and Venezuela. Travelers trying to make it through have reported robberies, corpses, mutilations, and rape in the dense forest along the route. For children who survive the trek, UNICEF has warned of invisible wounds. Many of these kids have gone through a terrible time. They have seen things they should not have seen, Sandy Blanchett of UNICEF's representative in Panama told CNN in 2021. This week, the United States, Panama, and Colombia announced a 60-day campaign to curb illegal migration through the Darien Gap, laying out plans to reduce illicit movement and opening new legal migration pathways. Every year, tens of thousands of migrants attempt to cross the border between Panama and Colombia, putting their lives in the hands of smugglers, with many perishing while attempting to pass through the treacherous terrain, officials from the three countries said in a joint statement. The statement also acknowledged all three countries have a responsibility to prevent the risk to human life, disrupt transitional criminal organizations, and preserve the rainforest. That is the end of this very short article. And I want to point out that the last sentence here says, the statement also acknowledges that all three countries have a responsibility to prevent the risk to human life, disrupt transitional criminal organizations, and preserve the rainforest. I love how these, I don't even know what to say, but these ignorant, foolish people at CNN, that they throw in the preservation of the rainforest on the same level as protecting human life. This is disgusting to me. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say it again because at some point in this article and this podcast, I'm going to say it probably 3, 4, 5 times. But first, let me point out the hypocrisy of CNN. So this is an article talking about the dangers of this Darien Gap and the migrants that when they go through this 37-mile stretch of very dangerous terrain, that many of them have died, faced, as it says, robberies, rapes, mutilations. They have found corpses. That's dead people who died along that trail. So they're getting robbed, they're getting raped, they're getting killed, dying maybe of the elements, being killed and mutilated. And some of these are children by themselves. Now, the hypocrisy for CNN is this. They are reporting on this as if they actually care. Oh my gosh, something has to be done. Well, remember when President Trump wanted to build the wall, all right, at our southern border, so that people could not cross from the south, from Mexico into the United States illegally. That if they wanted to come in, they had to do it through legal channels. They had to do it correctly. They had to do it legally. Well, all of these people, well, I'm not going to say all of these people that would go through this treacherous 37-mile stretch called the Darien Gap, where people are being robbed, people are being raped, people are being murdered, they're on their way to America to cross that border now illegally. Okay, Biden and the Democrats here in America have an open border policy basically saying, come on in. And once you are able to cross that border, nobody's going to do anything to you. Nobody's going to harm you. Nobody's going to do anything like that, which that aspect I like, but they're still here illegally. And what it does is it invites people from Venezuela, as it says here, Colombia, Panama, all of those southern countries to take the chance on being murdered, robbed, raped, mutilated, even children, because they're trying to get here because we have open border policies. Okay, so the reason I say CNN is a bunch of hypocrites based upon this, because they were against Trump, they were against the wall, they were against legal immigration, and they fought for illegal immigration. They support Biden. They support the Democrats. They support these liberal policies that's basically calling these people from these countries to take that trek through treacherous terrain where it's not just the terrain itself that could kill them, but it's the thieves, it's the robbers, it's the thugs, it's the criminals, it's the rapists, it's those that would kill them and mutilate their bodies. They're waiting for them. So the people that are partially to blame for these people being murdered in this Darien Gap and the rest of the trek, okay, that's just one 37-mile stretch. But the people that are found dead in Arizona near the border because they tried to walk over and the elements took them, Or in other places, they have these coyotes. These are the people that try to bring these people over for money. They treat them horribly. Sometimes they just take their money and they disappear. Sometimes they bring them. They'll rape the women, the children. They'll just walk away with them. There's been many times where they have found truckloads, like semi-truck loads of illegal immigrants stuffed in the back of these trucks and just left for dead. Who's to blame for this? The Democrat, liberal-leaning a Biden administration and the Democrats that support the open border policies, including CNN. Every person that died trying to get to America because we have these open border policies, every person that's died, every person that's been raped, every person that's been robbed or used, you know what, CNN? You're complicit in that. You're the one who helped create that mess. You're responsible for those deaths, those rapes, those murders. Same with you, Joe Biden. Same with you, Aunt Nancy. Same with you, all Democrat Party. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I keep telling you this, but those left-leaners, those Democrats, the left-leaners, people that are more liberal-minded, they do not care they do not have the capacity to truly care for another human being. Only themselves. They do have the capacity to cry and shed a tear, so it makes it look like they're actually sorry, or they actually have some real passion for other people or compassion for other people, but they don't. They do not at all. Do you know why we need a wall? A lot of people say, because you guys hate Mexicans. Absolutely not. It's because of our great love and respect for the Hispanic people, from Mexico all the way down into South America. It's because of our great love and respect for the people that are hurting. Our love and respect for those who do want to get here and have and build a life, that do want to escape the corruption and escape the poverty and the crime in their home countries and get here where it's more safe, in the land of opportunity, in the land of freedom. It's because of our love for them that we want that wall, so that we know who's coming in and who's going out. And we could actually, maybe in that system, instead of just having open borders where everybody can just come and it beckons them to come, maybe we can then close our borders in that sense, allow them here legally, and then begin to work with the other nations, go figure, to help give them the ability to rule their nations in a better way, so that there's less crime, there's less murder, there's less rape, less poverty, more wealth coming in, businesses being built, people going to work where they don't have to go and attempt to take this trek from, say, Panama or Colombia all the way up through Central America, and these places where robbers are waiting for them, murderers are waiting for them, rapists are waiting for them. If they didn't have to leave their home, they could actually build their home country to be just as good in that regard as the United States of America, so they won't want to come here. But you see, open border policies and Joe Biden is horrible on the international scene. He's just as bad on the international scene as he is on the national scene, which we still have a land of plenty here. And these people are seeing that, and they know we have an open border, so let's go. Let's take our chances, and we'll walk there. And many of them are being raped. Many of them are being robbed. Many of them are being murdered to the point that they are being mutilated and left along the trail for children to come by and find. CNN, you're responsible for that. Joe Biden, you are responsible for that. MSNBC, you are responsible for that. And anyways, ladies and gentlemen, please don't get me started on this, because let me give you some numbers. As I came across this, it really got me sparked. Like, let me get some real world numbers. And this is what I found in 2018. It says 260 people died crossing our southern border illegally from Mexico. 260 people. And that's 260 people too much, ladies and gentlemen. And that was 2018. What do I got up here? 21. CNN reported that 650 people died crossing the southern border. So in 2021, 650 people died crossing the southern border. CBS reported in October 2022, that 853 people died crossing our southern border. The New York Post in September of 2022 said 750 people died crossing the southern border. So in 2022, we have at least 750 people who had died trying to get here up from Mexico or using through Mexico, and 650 people in 2021. There's 260 people in 2018, which is far less, still too many people. But I want you to put this into perspective, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Because you've heard me say it before. I'm going to continue saying it until everybody gets this. Democrats are wicked. Democrats are evil. They have this open border policy. In 2018, when there was 260 people who had died crossing the border, which again is 260 people too many. President Trump was in office. He was attempting to build a wall that the Democrats kept stopping. And although he wasn't successful in getting the wall completed, he was successful in strengthening our border to the point that 260 people passed away. 260 people too many, but 260. Biden comes into office. Okay. In his first year in office, 750 people die crossing the border. Why? Because he has an open border policy. And what that does is it just invites people that if you can make it through this treacherous territory, you can come into America. And it's a horrible territory. It's a horrible place for them to try to make it through and to cross. And many people die trying to walk through the desert of southern Arizona into the United States. And they die there. Many of them, not all, but many of them, 750 people at least, maybe upwards of 853 people in 2022. So in just 2 years, 2021 and 2022, we had 1,400 people, possibly more, that had died trying to cross from Mexico into the United States. And that's all under the Biden administration because of his open border policies. All of you out there, especially you Christians, you guys who are like, oh, Jesus would never shut down the border. Really? It was God himself that commanded a wall to be built around Jerusalem. So they knew exactly who was coming in and exactly who was coming out. The wall was there for protection. The wall was there so that they can make sure that the enemy wasn't sneaking in. And America has lots of enemies, and many of them sneak over that southern border. How do you keep even terrorists from mixing in that bunch? You have a wall. You can only and you only let people that are coming over legally. That's not wicked. That's not evil. That's not heartless. As a matter of fact, it's the exact opposite, because what you are also doing is protecting the people, especially these children that otherwise would say, open border, let's go to America. We can walk through that desert, and they die in the desert. Or they walk through the jungles there, that 37-mile trek of Darien Gap, and they die there, or they're raped there, or they're robbed there. I don't know how you Democrats live with yourself. How do you sleep at night? And I'm not talking about just the politicians, because I'm really upset at Biden and Nancy Pelosi and all of these wicked, evil Democrats. But you know what's really frustrating me more and more and more is the people that vote for them. Because I didn't kill anybody, but you're an accessory to murder if you voted for the people that killed people. And their policies are killing people. You know what I mean? So President Trump comes along, he says, I have a means to not only protect America, but also protect those who would otherwise try their best to get here. And, President Trump is a great negotiator, was then, and he still is now. And I know this, he could have and would have started working with all these southern countries, helping them to become strong in and of themselves, so that our southern border is stronger, not just because of a wall, but because of our southern neighbors. And, doing that would have made America stronger, healthier, more safe, because we would help them in their own home countries become healthier, stronger, and more safe. But instead, you all want to come in there with your goofy ideas, painting a wrong picture of these policies, open the borders, and now look at 1,400 people, many of them children, die trying to get to America, and illegally, I might add. Why? Because of these foolish open border policies. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you this again. Your vote has consequences. Who's in office there's consequences to who we put in office. What are the consequences of liberal Democrats in office? People dying at the southern border in greater amounts, higher amounts, more people dying, more children being raped trying to get here, more people being robbed, more people being murdered, and more people dying to the elements trying to get here because of foolish Democrat policies. We have an economy right now that's absolutely destroyed and literally hanging by a thread on the brink of collapsing completely. The banking system is an absolute mess. Why? Democrat policies. We have a world right now that's on the brink of war, major war with China, China with Taiwan, and because of that, we with China, Russia in Ukraine, and because of that, we with Russia. Right now, Israel is pretty much in a war again right now. Why? Because of the weakness of the liberal Democrats in office right now. None of this, whether you liked him or not, none of this happened under Trump, and none of this would be happening under Trump. We had the strongest economy that we had in years under Trump. And now, in Biden's first term, we have the worst economy that we have seen in over 40 years. And people sit back and try to, well, he inherited it from Trump. No, what he inherited from Trump is a strong economy, a strong military, a strong America, and it was getting stronger by the day. And now what do we have? We have at the highest levels in the United States military, men who think they're women trying to lead certain branches of the military, men in dresses we are the laughing stock of the world right now. We are the laughing stock of the world. On the international scene, it's embarrassing. I have friends all over the world, ladies and gentlemen. I have friends in China. I have friends in Mexico. I have friends in Africa, several African nations. And every time I hear from them, they question me, what is going on with you guys over there? What is going on? We used to be the beacon of hope for the world. And in many cases, we still are. But our light is becoming dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. And then I read stories like this out of CNN. I'm going to CNN to try to find a little bit of humor. And what I find is something heartbreaking. But not only heartbreaking is the truth in the story, but the reality of the hypocrisy of who put this story out. CNN stands with liberal Democrats and their policies, and they push it in every one of their programs, every one of their shows, every one of their news discussions. They push it. And then these things start to happen where people are dying trying to get here because of the policies they help push. And then they just like, oh, wow, we don't know what's going on. How can this be? We need to do something. Yeah, build a wall. And CNN, get off your stupid, left-leaning, I'm not even going to say high horse, because that's not even a high horse. Your Democrat, left-leaning donkey that's dead, and start standing up for truth. Start standing up for righteousness. Start standing up for things that actually work in the real world. I just wonder, ladies and gentlemen, I am just curious. If we were to go do a little bit of research and find out where the top people in CNN, where they live and how they live, I wonder how many of them have live in such things like a gated community, or even around maybe their own personal home, have walls, cameras, some type of protection to keep them safe behind a wall. You know, how many of them actually close their doors and lock the doors, close the windows and lock the windows, because they don't want to invite unwanted intruders in, people that aren't there, invited or whatever. And if any one of the people, whether it be CNN, MSNBC, or people in our government right now are some of the biggest hypocrites. They are followed around. You look at President Trump, you look at his wife, you look at the vice president, and you look at key members of Congress, and this goes Democrat or Republican, they have armed guards with them. They live in gated communities. Many of them, maybe not all of them, but many of them even have such things as bulletproof cars, maybe themselves being armed. They certainly live in places that are protected so they can be safe. And yet they want to strip that of you and me. and of the country as a whole. Oh, we can have armed guards. We can protect ourselves with guns, but not you, not you, not you. No, you can't. We're going to take your guns. Oh, we can live in a gated community. Oh, bought and paid for by the taxpayer. Oh, but we can't find the funds to build a wall to protect you. Oh, we're protected with your money because of the walls built around our house and our community. But you, well, sorry, we didn't find enough money left over of your money to build you a wall to protect you. CNN is behind it as far as a news network, if you can actually call it that. MSNBC, all of these different networks that are for open borders and they're supporters of Democrats and liberal policies, they're all wicked. They're all complicit. They're all part of it. All the many of the Republicans, but every Democrat for sure is behind it. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about humanity as a whole. Because if they did, they would work to do some real world things so that no more people are dying trying to get here. There's no more children being raped, murdered, and mutilated in such places as this Darien Gap. No more people dying, dropping dead in the Arizona desert just in the hopes to get here. They would do some real world work to bring that to a stop. They don't care about people. They care about themselves. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. And the sooner we understand that, the sooner we not just recognize it, but the sooner we start taking it to a voting booth and start voting for something different, that's when things will really change. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to end with this. I believe it was Einstein who said, if you do the same thing over and over and over, expecting different results, that's insanity. And the American voter has been insane for a long time. Those of you who keep voting Democrat over and over and over again because you actually believe their promises that they're going to do something or give you something better than the last time, you're insane. It's time to vote differently. After Jimmy Carter was president and he was running for re-election and Ronald Reagan ran against him, he asked this one question. Are your lives better today than they were 4 years ago? 4 years of Jimmy Carter. Is it better or worse? And that was the turning point in that election that helped secure the presidency for Ronald Reagan, because people stopped and they thought for a minute and said, no, my life is not better. I want to ask you the same thing, especially those of you who have been lifelong Democrats. Have you really seen the Democrat? Honestly, you guys just got to stop and honestly answer this question. Have you really seen the Democrats do anything for you? I'll never forget after Obama was in office, and he had 8 years, ladies and gentlemen, 2 terms, 8 years he was in office. And many people, and I hate to say it like this, but especially black people, voted for him simply because of the color of his skin. Let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, that's just the truth. I had people telling me, I want to make history, that's why I'm voting for him. They didn't care about his policies, they only cared about the color of his skin, okay? So I remember how many people that even spoke to me, black people spoke to me. They were completely disillusioned because they says, Obama did nothing for us, did nothing. He says the black community is worse today after 8 years of Obama than it was when he started. He came in with all these promises, but kept very little of them. As a matter of fact, things got worse, not better. And not just for the black community, ladies and gentlemen, but for all of us. And if you're really honest and willing to look at it, honestly, you have to admit it, because he didn't do anything good for the United States of America. Nothing good. And it's sad to me. I had thought, I didn't vote for him at all because I didn't agree with his policy. But when they said that he won, this is what I literally said, and I even said this out loud. Well, maybe now we could move past all of the supposed racism in our country. I at least was like, okay, now we can at least move past that. We have a black man in the office, the highest office of this land. We can move past all this racism. And what did he himself do and his wife do? They stirred up racism even more and more and more and more. It was the exact opposite of what I and many people hoped would happen. They don't care about you and me. They don't care about America. They don't care about the people of America. These left-leaners, they only care about themselves and their legacy. They care about their bottom line and their pocketbook. They care about their agenda. They don't care about us. They don't find the greatness in America and then build upon it to make it greater. They have their agenda and they push their agenda. And they don't care who gets hurt. They don't care who dies. They don't care who gets caught in the crossfire. They're already prepared for it. They can flip the script and blame Trump. Flip the script, blame the Republicans. Flip the script and blame the MAGA supporters. Remember us? All these deplorables, as Hillary Clinton called us? That's all they have to do is come up with some catchy phrase or some word and just keep using it and calling us that. And what's so sad is many Americans, again, left-leaners, grab hold of it. Yeah, you're just deplorable. Can't tell why. It was just you caught that word from your queen. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's why we're labeled racist, transphobe, homophobe. Well, I'm going to tell you guys something. You all are straightophobes. Yeah, because you're afraid of straight people. You're Christophobes. You're not only afraid of Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God, but you're afraid of those who represent him. You're common sensophobes. Because the elevator doesn't quite go up to the top. You can't even function in this thing called common sense. You've lost that ability. So yes, I'm going to start making up my own words because that seems to be the only way some of you get the clue. Find some stupid word and then put phobe to it, you know? You guys are metaphobes because you're all vegans or whatever it is. You know, you're gascarophobes, petrolophobes, petroleumophobes because you all want electric cars. Do you see how that works? Do you see how ridiculous that is? And yet you guys do it all the time. I'm asking you, for the good of this country and even for your own good, just stop and be honest with yourself about this. Just give yourself 15 minutes of complete honesty and ask yourself, am I better off? Is this nation better off because of the Democrats that are running the show? And if you're honest, you'll come up with a big no. So then why keep doing the same thing over and over and over in the hopes that you're going to get a different result? It doesn't work that way, ladies and gentlemen. Never has and never will. And I'm looking at this article still. In this article from CNN of the Darien Gap, people trying to get here to America. It says a 20-year-old Venezuelan woman holding her year-and-a-half-old daughter, standing in this jungle on her way here, going to walk all that distance with her year-and-a-half-old baby. Why? Because you guys keep screaming, open border, open border, open border. And they're putting their life in their hands trying to get here. You shouldn't all be ashamed of yourself, CNN. You should be ashamed of yourself, Democrats. You should absolutely be ashamed of yourself because people are out there dying because of your failed policies. People are being raped and murdered and mutilated because of your failed policies. But I'm telling you, good people are not going to stand for it anymore. Good people are standing up, are rising up, and putting their foot down, saying enough is enough.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chippy the Chipmunk, and I have a message for all of you today. Don't be a liberal, because liberals are stupid.
Thank you for joining us at Table Flippers. I truly appreciate you. You can write me at gwccrobert@gmail.com. That's gwccrobert@gmail.com. Please let me know how I'm doing. Remember to pick up some of our merchandise. You can find the link at gwcclancaster.org. That's gwcclancaster.org. Until next time, be continually blessed.